push the red button?
I should.
Yep.
All right.
This is live.
This is a meeting of the Tilton Northfield Fire District Commissioners. It is Monday, September 16th, 2024. It is 5:32 p.m. We are in the Tilton Town Hall lower meeting room. Those present include the commissioners, the chief, Kathy, and Helen. Helen, thanks for being here. Review the minutes. The minutes are there in front of you. They just got sent out today. Don't know if anyone got a chance to see them prior.
Barely. Scanned them. Make a motion to accept the September 10th minutes as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay.
That's for discussion purposes.
Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Public comment. Anything so far?
Didn't listen.
All right, let's move on. We're here to talk about the budget.
Well, you want me to start?
Yes, please.
All right, my budget is fairly complete. It is before you. The budget, as my proposed budget for you, is a 3% tax impact increase over the previous year's budget. And that's assuming an 8% increase in all insurances.
Why can, just starting at the top, why does it look like last year's budget was $3,655,000? Wasn't the amount voted on at the meeting $3,555,000?
There was an extra $100,000 placed in for the fire station.
Capital reserve fund is
Yes.
included in that.
So that's why.
The- What they voted on did not include the warrant articles.
And
This
that was,
includes the warrant articles.
thank you for that clarification.
So if you want to get into it, we can just go to right to page 3. And you can see my figures will be in the far left-hand column. The commissioner's budget will be in the second from the left, and then the budget committee's recommendations will be in the third from the left. And you can use the columns to the right for comparison. Some items I left blank because I thought it would be most appropriate for the commissioners to decide those items. The first one being just like the salaries of the executive committee, which would be the commissioners, the moderator, and the treasurer, and the clerk.
Well, I don't know that we need to make any changes there. That amount's not correct.
It's 9,500.
Oh, you didn't fill it in.
I didn't fill it in because
So Jason, that's the stipend that the commissioners get, the moderator gets,
Right.
the
Clerk,
clerk gets,
treasurer.
treasurer gets.
Mhm.
Now, there's nothing, would you say it come out to?
9,500.
Yeah, last year was 9,500.
I don't think, Jason, think
What?
candies. Can't have the whole
I want
bag
to
for
be
yourself.
something near the recording, so there's no clicking, like there's some cellophane crinkling there.
Okay.
Look, we can come back and talk about that.
Well, this is level funded, I mean, if that's kind of where it's been all along. My
Yes.
recollection being on the budget committee
Yes.
for that long.
Well, we did raise it some point in the past, and then the budget committee lowered it, and then we increased it back. So it's gone up and down over the years.
That was in '23. In '22, it was up and down, and then last year, everybody agreed to the 9,500.
Mhm.
I think there was a point where there was a request for an assistant treasurer, or just deputy treasurer or
Yes.
something. And it wasn't coming out of the treasurer line, it was over and above.
Mhm.
it was never filled.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. It's like, okay, treasurer needs to back off, and they want to subcontract to a deputy or an assistant, then the money would go from that line to, you know what I mean?
We don't necessarily have to approve any of these numbers tonight.
No, but you don't, no, you don't have to do anything. This is your meeting.
Right. You can make motions and seconds, and we can plug in numbers, and then you can change them later on if you wish, or you can just look at the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather go through and just look at the items that are showing increases to get an explanation for why.
Yep.
That's all right?
Yeah, that's good.
Paul, is that right?
That's fine with me.
Right, let's go to auditing. Why did you come up with the number 10,400?
That is what they
It's-
quoted us for next year.
It's kind of a contract price.
Okay.
This is the same outfit, or should we shop around?
It's the same outfit. There aren't many auditors out there that are willing to do municipalities. Every time I've sent off requests, we don't do them.
Seems taking a long time to get the results back.
Well, right now, we're waiting for the attorney.
The attorney is holding that up right now with documentation.
Our attorney,
Yes,
Paul, or his firm?
His
his
firm.
firm.
Ooh. There you go.
It seems like every year we're waiting for the audit for a long time. So do the folks doing the audit ask for additional information, or are they
Yes.
sort of done with the audit and
They
They-
need a letter from the lawyers.
They're just waiting on that letter from the attorneys, and the audit is completed except for that one piece.
Okay. We haven't spent any money in legal fees so far this year, that can't be right.
The
We have.
actuals have not been filled in.
The only actuals that I filled in were the ones that, for the, like, the elected officials will be, you know, it's a set figure and it's been expended already. You'll see, looking at it, that the commissioners isn't completed because not everybody's taken their stipend.
And you didn't put an amount in there?
Right.
What do you anticipate we're gonna spend on legal this year?
I couldn't even, I'm gonna say, I think 5,000 would be appropriate, but I don't know, because we haven't finished the interviews, and the commissioners have not officially appointed a new legal counsel, or a continuing legal counsel to what we have, so.
Well, the only thing you have out there right now is that contract with the town of Northfield.
That's still pending, and that's what the attorney currently is the audit. The only other things currently we use the attorneys for is review of contracts, and if we have a new location for a cistern or a dry hydrant,
Easement.
you get an easement, and that goes through them as well.
Okay.
Don't they get a retaining fee to,
Most of the attorneys just charge by the hour, and even the ones that have submitted RFPs with answering the questions, they just charge an hourly fee. Depending upon which attorney you get, it's anywhere from like $220 to $260 an hour, depending upon which attorney in the firm you get. It seems to be, they all seem to be about comparable in that respect.
because I know we hired one up store there, and they had a retainer fee. We had to come up with, I don't know if it was $2,000 or something like that, and they'll draw off it. And when it gets down there, you have to
Replenish it, yeah. Being a municipality, most of them don't do that with municipalities.
All right, can we move on from that?
The next line item, I put in that 8% increase on the health insurance. But we really won't know that number until mid-October. And I want to make sure that the commissioners have a meeting shortly after mid-October to probably finalize the budget by that point in time.
So that 8% takes into consideration the current level of insurance that we now have.
Yes.
So it's not 8% of last year.
No, it's what we have, people taking family or dual or single plans or opt-outs.
That's a huge increase.
Well, it was a lot, it was 15 or 16% last year. But when I, doing my research into other increases, insurance increases and stuff like that, using, through Google and other methods, it seems like 7% is kind of where it should fall.
Well, 329 to 453 is like 33%.
Well, you gotta understand that people have gone to family plans, so that is an increase in itself, but overall,
And then
the
didn't we-
rate increase, I should say,
Yeah,
is,
and then didn't we have 4 of the guys were covered by the Safer Grant for, what,
Yeah.
2 months?
yes.
First 2 months of
Yep.
And so we weren't paying the insurance for 4 guys for 2 months.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I can see how that all shakes out in October.
All right, dental insurance, that's something you wanted to add,
Yes,
because we aren't currently offering
that's correct.
that. And that dollar amount, is that accurate for what a plan would cost for us?
It's in the ballpark.
Do we have a quote on that?
Well, we won't until the middle of October.
We have to wait for the insurance,
But
their rates.
But that's, it's gonna be right around that area. I think we're the only fire department in the area that's currently not offering dental.
Oh, we offer some good benefits, but that seems to be, do the other departments in the area have the employees copay some of that? Or cover part of that cost?
Some do, some do not.
right.
Most of the co-pays on the insurances are just on the health portion. But there's a couple municipalities have the co-pay applied to the dental portion as well.
Hi.
Right place?
You
Which
don't
one?
wanna go upstairs,
Upstairs?
unless you want it.
That's the elevator.
That's the elevator, the stairs are at the end of the hall if you want.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry to bother you.
no, not a problem.
Do you participate in your dental with the state?
Yeah.
I do.
Delta.
Right, we have Delta as well.
And that's what this would be, Delta.
Right, I just want to get a sense, so I just want to keep moving, is that okay?
Fine.
All right, short-term disability,
So,
And then-
again, I'm looking really at the bottom line here. Because I didn't break it out for all the little things here, but basically,
some stuff is up, some stuff is down. And those are notes from last year.
those are notes. I expect it to be, in this ballpark area if the insurance rates are at 8% over what they were last year.
Oh, pizza's here.
Thank goodness.
So we'll get those, I'll have those figures broken out for you the next meeting.
Okay. So, 16 to 17,000. All right.
The other things, like Social Security, Medicare, retirement, unemployment was self-funded in that, so. But the other things are all tied to salaries.
Mhm.
Then if you want to move down to the bottom of the page where you get on into government buildings, doing an analysis of the first part is electricity, doing an analysis of the usage of this year, and trying to project where it will be next year. These are the figures that I would recommend.
Why does the Spalding Tower cost so much?
Because we run a lot of stuff out of there. Yeah, it's the main transmitter for the fire radio system, it's the main transmitter for the police system, it's the main transmitter site, receiver site for the radio box alarms. It also receives signals for microwave site and stuff like that.
So we're anticipating a 50% increase in the bill? From 22 to, actually, how did we go from 23 to 24, from 22 to 35? What was the jump there?
Just the actual usage, having things come online, and this is like the first year we've had a full year of actual usage that.
We don't have the 24 actuals.
No, but I can see what we've been spending over every month. Moving forward, on the next page, is gas, which is natural gas for both stations. And I've level funded it there. Water, I actually decreased the amount of water by about $45. Overall, the different fees that we pay, not counting the hydrant fee, but the usage fee for domestic water and the fill lines. Sewer usage, I increased by $80. Looking at usage and what I predict for next year, where we'll fall. Any questions on any of that so far?
No.
right, moving on to repairs and maintenance. Center Street Station, there's a lot of things in there that some folks have requested that I put in there, so it's in there. I don't necessarily think that we should touch the outside of the building.
What's in that $8,000?
We need a new stove, oven thing
Upstairs?
upstairs.
Thank you.
The current stove oven we have right now is, it's not working very well. And it's
Dangerous.
15 years old, it's a gas, it's a, I forget what brand it is. But the whole top thing is all messed up, it doesn't,
Well, it's gotta be more than just a stove for $8,000.
well.
It's a really nice stove.
No,
One with a Viking.
the stove is like $2,500.
Wow.
Can we get a breakdown of what that $8,000 includes for the next meeting?
I might even have it right here. Hold on.
The $9,500 for lead paint and stuff, that was on the budget last year, we took it out,
Yes,
and you're probably feeling the same way we are, we don't wanna bother with that at the moment.
that's correct. So, included in there is, we have to replace, there's 3 air conditioners that we need to replace for 1420. There's 3 beds that are, I don't even know how old they are, but they're being held together with baling wire right now. So we want to replace those frames. The 8,000, so 5,500 of that 8,000 is the number I put in there every year because of just whatever happens.
Okay.
So that's where that comes out to 8,000. It's the 2,500 and the 5,500.
Okay.
I suppose I could have broken out the stove into another line. Would have made it more clear.
This is
So-
really not repairs and maintenance, it's an appliance and a fixture.
Yeah.
Like, where did you just replaced the dishwasher a couple months ago?
That came out of the 5,500 thing.
That would be in that line?
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably should be in a different place, but, okay.
Then the final number in that column is $700 for fire alarm monitoring.
Up from 360,
Yes,
that's a contracted fee,
yes.
like everything else.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me too.
Do we have fire alarm monitoring at Park Street?
Yes.
Is that included in a different number?
That fire alarm monitoring is free because it's a radio box. And the deal I struck with the radio box folks, since they have a receiver on our tower, I says, well, any of our radio boxes belonging to the fire department, we're not gonna pay for them. And they agreed to it. So I says, well, can we get a radio box
At Center Street.
for Center Street? Considering that we may be looking to move on from Center Street shortly, the radio boxes are very expensive up front.
Right.
So I figured let's wait for it to open.
All right, thank you. So when you go to Park Street, that 5,500 is just the default amount you had in there?
Yes,
And so like the 3,500 and that was appropriated in up in Center Street was 3,000. That was after the budget process, those amounts got
these
reduced.
amounts got reduced after the district meeting. I reduced them. Hoping that we could not overexpend those lines.
Right, and then you put back in those windows, the repair of the sign,
Yes.
weed control.
Yep. So, at the tower sites, there's this knot vine weed that's invasive, that's growing into the site that we have to keep out. So that's what that is.
Is it some sort of herbicide or
Yeah,
application?
yes.
Are we doing that or?
No, we hire a company to do that.
Right, and then security video system.
Yes, so I have that in a different color because I think we could use the tower fund to pay for that rather than the operating budget.
And that's what we were talking about when we wanted, as part of the door lock system, and putting security.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to talk to you about tonight about that is we signed a contract, or I signed a contract for your authorization to replace the 3 exterior doors over there. I think it would be appropriate for the tower fund to pay for that as well, rather than taking it out of the operating budget. And that, you guys can do that through a motion,
Right.
and you don't.
We should have done that last time.
Well, we got time because we didn't get the bill yet.
Well, we do have, we know what the bill is.
Well, it's a quote, and you've signed it.
Do we know when he's gonna do the work?
Well, he's ordered, he's told me he's ordered the doors, and he says they'll take about 5 weeks to come in.
Can we add that to the agenda at the next meeting?
Which,
To authorize the payment of the
Authorize.
doors out of the tower fund.
okay.
How much money we got in there?
It's like
27,000 from, that's in that trust fund, but then we also will be putting more money into it next year at the district meeting from the revenue of the tower this year.
The revenue just sits in the general fund until we transfer it.
Correct.
Yep.
It's true about it in the meeting. Okay.
And then the final line in there is 1250 for the shed and behind the fire station. All the trim is all rotting and needs to be replaced. And we would like to replace it with vinyl. The rest of the shed is vinyl, but the trim is still just, well, it's rotted pine. We'd like to replace that with a
Conservation Commission
That would be
Upstairs.
here.
upstairs. End of the hall, take a left and go up the stairs.
Thank you.
You're
The
welcome.
answer to your question is $26,630 in the tower fund.
And we also have a purchase order that you guys authorized us to, for the lock system and I believe the access control, and I believe we should take that out of the tower fund too, instead of the operating budget.
It's in that shed,
Oh,
and I know there's probably stuff in there from
a
50
lot
years
of-
ago.
Most of the tires that we're not currently using, that we switch between winter and summer, that's in there. A couple spare ladders are in there, some, the lawnmower, and all the things we use for the dry hydrants and cisterns, to mow those things, the portable lawnmower and that kind of stuff.
Can we also,
Propane.
that door locks, the next meeting, what the cost is on that?
The PO, we signed a PO on that, and that was issued, I just
Because
have.
obviously, we'll need to know what that is too.
I'm thinking it's 8,000 and change.
Yes. Right, so the tower fund for the door locks, new doors,
And the securities,
security system.
yeah, let's see what all that totals to.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
The other thing, I don't know, maybe at the end of the year on that is the 4,000 plus that we paid for the asphalt behind the Center Street station.
Upstairs?
Upstairs?
Can you find it? To the
Yeah, I'm
end-
not sure where it is.
Go to the end of the hall,
Yep,
take a left, and go up the stairs.
oh, thank you.
You're welcome. We need a sign.
Who's meeting up there tonight? Planning?
Conservation.
Conservation.
We're gonna have a conversation about conservation. Over pizza.
Over pizza.
Parking is limited.
It sounds like we should go to that meeting. We're gonna
Probably
have pizza
be more
first.
fun, right? Okay.
All right, moving on, I level funded custodial supplies and dumpster. The dumpster is up, because that's a contractual thing as well, their monthly fee increased.
How often do they come?
Every
Twice a
week?
month.
Isn't it every week?
I thought it was every other Wednesday.
What do you have?
The red truck.
It used to be Bernard,
Oh.
but they sold to
Somebody with red.
Casella?
Casella, yeah.
Casella.
But they still are driving Bernard's red trucks.
Yeah, it's right outside my
It's only
window.
been like 3 months, so.
All right, landscaping. Is that landscaping materials, $350?
Yes.
Can we add that to the description of that line?
Yeah, just so somebody doesn't think it's a service.
No, it's
Okay.
what Mike Robinson goes and buys all the bark mulch and the colored stone and fertilizer and stuff like that for Park Street Station. We reimburse him.
And then same thing, riding lawnmower, riding mower, what is that?
That's the
Blades,
maintenance, like blades and,
Yeah, it was brake stuff.
Shouldn't that be under the apparatus and equipment fund now? It's one of those,
I could talk against that.
so could I, but it was just,
Can we change the description of that line?
to what?
Mower maintenance?
yep,
Sure.
and they already wrote it in here, as we done.
That's video security, so we already have a quote on that, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
I bought the extra large bag.
Next line is maintenance and repairs for the Shed Road Communications Tower, and the monitoring for our systems up there. And those are level funded, even though it looks like it's a huge decrease, but we had a grant last year that went against that line, so.
Oh, that 51,000 is mostly that grant, right?
Yes, so those are really level funded.
Okay, the video system for A&B lock is $10,507. Sorry, it took me a minute to get to it.
Or how much, 10,000?
$10,507.
So why are we showing 11,000?
Probably because there's other things that go with it.
Okay.
And that, I don't know if that was the latest one,
It may not be the latest
Yeah.
one. This is the only one that I
that
show.
you have in the computer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I have a more recent one on my desk.
It probably didn't go down.
Of course not.
It did. Where were we at? The next things, insurance, workers' compensation, again, those things are in green because I'm just predicting an 8% increase just to get a number into the budget. Hopefully it'll be less than that.
And again, we won't know that till November.
October, middle of October. So, again, like I said, the commissioners should have a meeting shortly after the middle of October to, usually that's the last wrapping up the commissioners' version of the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we kind of have to move things along this year because Paul's gonna be gone most of December. So we want to get the commissioners done so that the budget committee can get done
This fall?
this
Yes.
fall. Yes.
Call Carolina.
You can zoom in from there, right?
Yeah.
Property and equipment insurance, oh, that's deductible.
Right, that's property and liability insurance.
Mhm.
That covers the vehicles, the buildings,
And where do we have our insurance now?
Primex.
There's nothing any cheaper than them.
No, not even close.
Do they
The
do,
only cheaper is if you self-insure.
do they do like just all municipal?
And don't break anything.
They
Yeah.
do, yes.
So,
It's a pool that we're in.
yeah, it's a risk management pool. Every municipality in New Hampshire belongs to them, except for Nashua and Manchester, who are self-insured.
So in other words, there were a lot of, okay, why couldn't they do that on insurance for the people that work for the fire department?
Like the health insurance?
Yeah.
So we use Health Trust, and most everybody in New Hampshire municipalities use Health Trust. It's kind of the same thing, but it's a different organization.
Pizza's getting cold up there.
What's that?
So the pizza's getting cold.
I
All right.
Any questions there? Any more questions? All right, moving on. The next section is salaries. I have those in there.
Why does it seem like your increase isn't as much as I feared it would be?
You asked me not to increase it too much.
Well, I did, but I recognize though that we had those 2 months where we were getting reimbursed for 4 guys, so
You thought it would be more than
I
this?
thought it would be. Not that I'm complaining.
Well, we can make it bigger.
I'm sure the guys would love for me to make it bigger.
How much of an increase is that? On the,
I didn't do the line item increase, let me do the math.
It's a step,
Yeah, it's 2.5.
2.5 step.
so it's a 2.5% increase.
Plus, I've instituted a educational incentive program.
And how much is that?
It varies on what you have for education.
You just want the bottom line, Paul?
Well, just the percentage is gonna go up.
Let me, well, let me get my
I
calculator.
mean, last year was quite an increase.
That was the big jump.
That was a big jump.
And the budget committee said.
And what's gonna happen is that,
This year.
there again, they're gonna look at this,
Yeah,
and so am I,
yeah, me too.
and they're liable.
Well, I understand all of that,
Yeah.
and I totally agree.
I mean, it was nice to get a raise last year, but it hurt you hurt everything else too by taking away a lot of the stuff that was in there to give them that raise.
Training and.
Yep.
Yeah, it did, and I've put all that stuff back into the budget, but the reason we have to still give raises is because everybody else has given raises, and I really didn't want to do a pay analysis comparison, but I did because to justify what
Somebody's
I'm
gonna ask,
asking for.
yeah, budget committee asked for
Yeah.
that anyway.
And so-
as I would.
Well, that number you've got down there is an 8% increase.
Yeah, so we're at $25 an hour to start, and the average starting price pay now is $26.51, which is, we're 6% below
Yeah.
with that number. Current openings right now in New Hampton, they're charging they're gonna start people at $26 an hour. Concord is $26.52. Hanover's $26.11. Wyndham is $26.14, and Derry's $27.80. And Laconia is starting at $29 and 52 cents. And they have 4 openings right now. And they have a sign-on bonus as well. Guilford starts at $30 an hour. So the folks we have here are really great and good, and I don't want them going to Laconia or Guilford, which they could easily do. So I think we need to kind of, up our pay a little bit. And what I want to do to make us different than everybody else is the educational incentive. So if you have a degree in, associate's degree or bachelor's degree or doctorate or something, you get paid extra for that. And that gives people the incentive to, some other towns do that, but none in our immediate area. So if we can do that, it puts us one step above them in that respect. And one of the other things that I found is that the folks that we do have degrees are some of my highest performers.
Right.
And it's an extra way to reward them. The downfall of that is if you don't have a degree, you don't get an incentive. But it gives you incentive to go get a degree,
Right.
and then you'll get it.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can have what you get to have, the incentive you get for what you got, training? What I mean by that, if I realize if you get a doctorate degree, what's the rate of pay for that?
Well, right now, the chief figured in for an associate's degree, it was additional 5%. For a bachelor's degree, it was 10%. For a master's degree, it was 15%. We didn't go to the doctor, but that would be 20%.
20%. It's in policy.
Increments of 5%.
Yeah.
Plus, there's an incentive for a paramedic and right up through.
Paramedics get an extra 10%.
Yeah.
You had shown us this in a document, and what was the total amount? 60 something?
It's about $76,000.
If we were to implement with the current staff.
Does the course of study and the degree have to somehow align?
I originally thought that it did.
You don't want somebody to get a master's in Sanskrit or something.
No, I know. Yeah. No, but originally I thought that if you had a master's in public administration or business or something like that, that it would matter a lot. But in my research and it's the education. It doesn't matter what the education is. It broadens the mind, allows you to think more broadly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It helps
Critical
you write,
thinking.
critical thinking, writing. Everything is better. So it really doesn't matter what the degree is in. It's you improve yourself because of the degree. And so I wouldn't limit it to only fire science or public administration or something like that. Most of the folks that we have their degrees in fire science, or in emergency medicine.
Gotcha.
So most of them are directly applicable. But I find that people that do have multiple degrees, the more they diverse themselves in their degrees, it's better for everything.
Communication better, written communication and reports and
Everything,
sure,
yes, yeah. Even looking at the reports that they write for their medical patient care reports,
incidents and stuff.
you can tell it's generally better than somebody that has a degree, just because they have more practice in writing and being taught how to write better.
So this increase that's in the career salaries and wages line, that is your step increase.
And the incentive,
And the
educational
incentive.
is included.
It's
in
both
it.
of those are in there? That doesn't, all right, now that doesn't seem like enough money.
And there's a piece of the, what is it, the 2 months of the,
Yeah, this doesn't go into effect until the first
It
pay
doesn't-
period in April.
April.
So the first quarter of the year, you're
Oh,
on this
that's right.
year's
Yeah.
salaries, and then the final
Okay.
3 quarters are on the new rate.
Right, okay, thank you. That's why it doesn't add up.
yeah,
Yes.
with prorated. Kind of change that a little bit.
Yeah, it's not prorated.
Mm.
It was.
Partial year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Well, so then I looked through the rest of this real quick, and there's not a lot of increase in the rest of the budget here. So I guess what would be really helpful for me would be that we start filling in
For the, yes, those will be,
the
the actuals will be filled in.
So we can see the trend. And then some of these items that I guess I want to see what the total bottom line is,
Yeah.
because I don't want to give it to the budget committee and say, here's an 8% increase, here's a 10% increase. You figure it out.
So you're gonna have, so that means that anything that the chief didn't plug numbers in for, you're going to have to plug them in order to help
No,
move.
there wasn't that many of those.
No, there wasn't.
So my proposed budget is a 3% increase over last year's tax amount.
And you're missing, what are we missing?
Missing legal fees and
Executive,
executive salaries.
is there anything else?
No.
No, that would be it.
And that's assuming that insurances only go up 8%.
Right.
Well, would it be fair to say for next discussion that we include that $9,500 for executive and then legal? You were thinking,
I was thinking
5.
I mean,
5 or
I really
6,000.
want to leave it up to you guys to figure that one out. I can tell you that I'd be comfortable with that.
well, will we have any legal expenses as it relates to the building committee and anything they're doing in the 25 calendar year?
No, I
I
don't think so,
don't know.
because they won't be signing any contracts or anything like that. That'll be up to the commissioners. They just recommend things.
Right. I think I'd hate to put $5,000 in there and it's 20.
Yeah, true.
I thought the
I'm
vote,
trying to see what
I
we
thought the
spent on that.
2024 appropriation was 3.5, not 3.65.
Yes, there was the $100,000 added on top of that for
The warrant
the warrant
articles.
article for the land and building fund. That's why
Right, but that goes to operating?
it goes into the general fund.
Right, but I'm saying is, the voting body, somebody in the voting body is gonna stand up and say, listen, we voted for 3.5, and the chief's budget is 3.7, so that's a swing of 2. But I don't wanna count warrant articles as part of your, because that makes your increase appear smaller.
I understand what you're saying.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want us to pull the warrant articles out?
Yeah, because there's no guarantee, though, he's not putting those in his budget, they shouldn't be in his budget.
Okay.
You know, you put them in.
What's that?
You put them in.
Well,
Yeah,
The voting body puts
Yeah.
them in, whether or not.
Oh, I
Yeah,
should
I
say,
said-
whether
you
they
put the
approve
warrant
it.
article.
You put the warrant articles, they vote on it, and either yea or nay.
Right, but the voting body just voted an operating budget last year of 3.5.
Okay. So
without the warrant articles.
we'll pull
So for
those
the
out.
chief to say it's really more like it's a different increase just on the operating budget side.
Okay, so if you look at page 2. You'll see that the transfer to the trust funds and the land and building fund is 135.
Right.
So even that doesn't total out right.
Well, I'm just gonna say, the chief's budget last year was 3.5,
Right.
because the gentleman from Northfield got up and said, listen, let's just go with that budget.
What got voted on at the meeting was, for the operating budget, was $3,555,018.
Yep.
Right.
So we ought to be able to come back into that number on here somehow.
I would-
And if you take that appropriated budget and it says $3,655,020, and you take the 100,000 out, you're there within $1. But then, if you're using that type of thought process, you should take the 35,003 out too, right?
Right, because those are the fire prevention trust fund, the
Okay, so-
deductible trust
Is that?
fund.
Am I looking at that
Yeah,
wrong?
that's where I'm kind of struggling.
That doesn't add
Well-
up. Even that doesn't
Right.
It
make
should,
sense.
the trust fund should not be in there, and then it would add up to the 350, 3555.
Well, only if you
Oh.
took the 100,000 out, but what about
Yeah.
the 35,000 that's also trust fund transfer? That's what I'm saying, the numbers,
Well, the 100,000 was raised by taxation, the 35,000 was out of the
Transfer.
unassigned fund balance.
oh, okay. But that amount wasn't in the budget. The budget that got voted on didn't
Right,
include that 35,000.
That is correct, and it said that it did not include.
So I should be able to add up all these other numbers and they should come up to that 3 million.
If you take these two numbers and not use them,
Yeah.
add all these up, it should be that 355.
That's what I'm saying, and that's not how it's adding up. I have all the budget sheets, so I could, if you wanted me to do it, I could certainly go back and look and see why that was.
I'll look at it tomorrow morning.
Well, that's easy enough, I'll figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we'll just take out the,
Well, if you,
Do the
it's
trust
fine
funds
that
and
it's
the-
there, it just needs to total the right amount, but then, as Jason was saying, when you get to the end here, and we start doing the math, that's gotta be transparent. What page is that?
It's 7.
The 53,000 grant money, that was in the budget.
It was,
I guess, what's the importance of the operating budget minus grants? What's important about that number? We don't use-
nothing,
nothing.
it's just there to, hey, this is what happened.
Okay. Yeah. It always seems like when you start looking at these numbers, they don't add up. right?
Well, that's why I'm like, okay, so if the chief's budget last year was 3,555, and his proposed budget is 3,798, that's almost a 7% left, not a 3%.
Because we're probably gonna have another warrant article for $100,000. It's just,
And
that's,
that's
Right.
outside of the, because it would be nice if we had this and we had, forget about appropriate, if we had 2024 chief's budget, 2024 budget committee's budget to look at.
Well, they appropriated the budget committee's budget last year, not the chief's.
No, they appropriated the chief's budget. Because it didn't have the raises that the budget committee wanted to put in, but the chief went back and made the budget committee's raises work. Because the budget committee had put in a bigger raise
No,
to
they
get.
No, it was the
voted-
commissioners.
They voted the commissioners.
They voted the commissioner's budget.
Not the,
not the
I
chief's.
thought they voted the chief's.
No, it was the commissioners.
Which was still lower than lower than the budget committee's budget.
Right.
136,000 lower.
Yeah. Because you had to pull it out.
Pull it out.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I thought they voted your budget last
No,
year.
it was the
Because of the comments that were
commissioners.
made, or, well, you know, the chief knows better than anybody what he's doing. But the commissioners was lower than the chief.
Yes,
Because of some of the small projects and
right.
stuff.
$3,555,019 is what
Okay.
was voted.
Yep. Okay.
So I'll just pull those things out of there tomorrow.
It's just
Well-
skewing it a little bit. You
So
know?
then-
I don't know if you have to pull them out. Just when we do that math, the math has to be based on.
We take those numbers out of the formula,
We'll take them,
those lines
Yeah.
out of the
Any of
formula.
them.
and we want to pull it out, we want to have a separate page for the warrant articles, because if we include them in the budget, it'll skew it, because when people start adding it up, they're
Yeah.
gonna say, wait a minute, this isn't in there, and this isn't in there, why isn't that in there? Because, you know,
Right. It got a little weird when,
We had that problem last year because we had budgets that were made public that were draft, and then we made changes in budgets that were available, and people were looking at the wrong version.
yes. All right, so,
well, just, and
we
then
want
in the
this.
salary thing, it got confusing because they thought, well, it's, you know, the raise is this, but we were adding staff because of the safer grants. It's, oh, you're giving everybody a 33%.
all right, so I'm
Raise.
just
Oh,
gonna
no.
X that off, so that I know to change that to that. And on page 2, we're going to take this out of here.
So my thought is we can't give the budget committee a 8%
No.
raise, 8% increase.
Well, we have to set up more meetings anyways,
Hmm.
so their first meeting is next Monday, budget committee. But they need to set up meetings, they need to,
Their first meeting isn't really much of a meeting. They
Yeah.
have a meeting to talk about
Organization.
having meetings.
it's
yeah.
organization, yeah. And Paul, you need to keep that on track.
I need to what?
Keep it on track.
That's the.
I think that's the chairman's job.
Well, there isn't a chairman yet.
There isn't one.
Right. So we need to plan,
Yes,
when we want to have our next meeting?
yes.
Yes.
Let me look at the calendar.
Oh, let's look at the calendar.
So October, your next meeting is actually on the 10th.
Not even on the 8th.
It's the 8th.
Oh, wait a minute, what? I'm in September, sorry. Let me get it back to October. You're right, the 8th. I'm there now. The 14th is a holiday, and that's when the
Building committee.
building committee's meeting.
What days are you not available?
Third Tuesday.
So the 15th is the third Tuesday. Yeah, it's on the calendar, chief. The dumpster's dipped every other week.
Okay.
Is that in a contract or?
Yeah.
Does that go out to bid?
We haven't put it out to bid in a couple of years, but they're all within a few dollars. if
Yeah,
you ever went to
I don't know,
that.
it's like, you could get a different company, but then it hits you on mileage.
We,
I see the city of Concord uses Waste Management, but that's who
we
runs
shopped
their.
around, I think we tried 4 of them.
Yeah, zero, we get a
Casella,
lot of
yeah.
zero waste,
Yeah.
but they're out of Bow, so maybe it's just a radius that they do. Because you really only have a few players in it anyways. Waste
So
Management.
Casella was the best?
Casella,
Yeah, the
Waste
cheapest one.
Management.
Yeah,
That's,
and that's who
zero.
bought Pinard.
And it cost, I think it cost, every time we empty, it's a little over $2,000.
Yeah, but you have a giant, a big one, a big
We
dumpster.
empty it twice a week.
Yeah,
Oh, carpet.
So
stuff.
carpet scraps
Yeah.
or
Huh?
carpet
Yeah.
tarp removal.
Wonderful rims.
Right, so,
yes.
Okay,
well, I was looking at,
Notes.
I don't know,
Why don't you start an hour earlier at your next meeting and do it all budget?
Not everyone can.
Because I can barely make 5:30 as it is.
Yeah.
All my other meetings are
Just
sixes and sevens.
and I don't know how some of these, boards meet at, 4.
That would be hands-on.
Wouldn't it? Employers tell them not supportive.
That is true. I'm fortunate because, my employer would be taller.
Well, do we want to do,
What about the 1st of October? Or do you want to wait until after the next meeting?
That's not awful.
October 1st?
These that are,
That's a Tuesday,
It
October
is a
1st,
Tuesday.
our regular meeting's the next.
Yes. And then the 8th,
Would that work, that would work for me.
the 1st.
Why is our meeting on a Tuesday? Is that a Monday? Oh, we met on Monday.
No, we meet on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays now?
It's been
This is a
Tuesdays.
budget meeting.
Oh, okay. Not a commission.
Then
No.
you should meet on Monday so you know it's a budget meeting, and not to confuse Jason.
Right, and the building committee meets on Mondays.
That's what I'm thinking of grant.
Well, the 30th would be that Monday, that week.
Well, we were talking about maybe the 1st,
I know,
Yeah,
October 1st.
yeah, October 1st, plug that in.
right.
5:30?
Yes, please. Is this room usually available every Tuesday?
Not every Tuesday, but check and see. Do you want to set another one after that one,
Okay.
please? So the 1st, the 8th, yeah,
So the actual budget committee only has like one meeting scheduled?
so far, that, they're going to be scheduling more meetings.
You said you get more information in October, when in October?
Usually the middle of the month.
Yeah.
So should we do like the 22nd? Is that far enough away?
Yes,
3 weeks after?
that would be far enough away.
Yep.
That's like the third one.
All right.
10:22,
10:22,
same time, same place?
if possible.
Same channel, same back channel.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to go one more,
If you want to.
just because? All right, your first meeting in November is the 12th.
Right.
Do you want to, when's the, do you want to meet on the 5th? When's election day?
5th.
Did it at town voting? No.
Well, what about the 4th? That's on Monday.
Are we gonna have, if we don't have a moderator, well, no, the wrong meeting, sorry.
Well, I will answer the question. If there's no moderator for district meeting, you will
Vote one of us.
elect one at that meeting. You'll ask for someone to volunteer and have them sworn in as your moderator for the meeting.
No, I meant for the elections, we have to have somebody sitting at the polls. Usually it's
Not until
Until
in
March.
March. And that's usually the clerk sits at one and the moderator at the other. Okay,
So
I'm fine with the 5th.
Helen's gonna be the moderator.
I better start reading that now.
I'll send you to class.
I'm
You
sorry,
just
I
don't
threw
want
you,
me to speak.
I threw you under the bus, sorry. No, we need a moderator.
Do you want to do November 5th, election day, or do you want to do, we already have a meeting on the 12th, you can't be here on the 19th.
Well, there's the 4th,
I think the 4th takes a little pressure off.
Okay.
the 4th.
4th works for me. Just remember that, Paul, when the budget committee is setting up their meetings.
I'm gonna have a list.
Okay.
That's why she's blocking these out.
Yes.
Yeah, so when we have the budget meeting next week, we need a list of all the building committee meetings that are scheduled and all the commissioner meetings that are scheduled so that we don't try and,
Yep. And there's only one building committee meeting scheduled.
but they generally meet on the second.
Second and fourth
Mondays
Mondays.
of the month, so just kind of keep that in mind.
Yes.
Is this the conservation?
No,
No,
they're
that's
upstairs.
upstairs.
End of the hall, take a left, and up the stairs.
All right, any other thoughts on the budget? Any other information you'd like before?
Just, I'd like to see the actuals as to
Right.
where
Yeah.
how we're spending.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough, you know, do what we
Oh,
can.
you asked about, so far this year for legal, we've spent, taking out the $400,000 for water district, $3,460 so far this year.
How much?
$3,460. And we budgeted 4,000.
Any idea what we're spending on?
Legal fees?
I understand. I do something to do that.
Well, sorry.
You'll just spend it.
I could not resist. Forgive me. Let me see if I can,
You'd have to go into all the invoices to,
well, let me see.
I spent a big one.
Well, let's see.
Well, we finalized some of that water department stuff, didn't we?
Yes.
In the beginning of the year.
Yes,
And
So-
Paul was at the district meeting.
right. So the water district was first bill for 1106. The bill in March was for this district meeting, and they reviewed it at land yeah. Still part of the water district,
So
573. And then in May, we wrote the check, the bill was probably in April, yes it was. Reviewed contracts, district meeting. District meeting was $1,267.50.
So the legal expense of 404,000, was that that was in the commissioner's budget that was approved?
That was the
$400,000 of that was court ordered.
Right, but I'm saying that was in the commissioner's budget?
no.
No.
It was,
Because that money was set, that was money
it was,
set.
it came out of the general
It
fund.
came out of the assigned fund balance.
Okay.
What had
Well, it was,
happened,
actually, it was the assigned,
every year,
auditors
the
assigned it.
auditors had taken X amount of money
Right,
that we had been billed from the water district and put it in a
Escrowed it,
contingency
yeah.
fund
yep,
to pay for whatever the settlement was going to be.
okay. But the voting body didn't vote on that number in any shape or,
No,
no, it was
They-
court ordered.
yeah,
they did vote on 100, for this
the
year,
next payment?
yeah,
or
for the rest of the
yeah,
year,
okay.
100 and some odd thousand.
Yep.
And that is in the budget.
Just saying, when we look at the budget, we're not gonna have a $400,000 line item, so does that make our budget lower?
No.
Right. So,
You know,
and that's another
That's
number
another quirk that's, you know,
And, the auditors had me put it under legal fees.
and it really wasn't appropriated, it wasn't voter appropriated.
No, it was court ordered,
Yeah,
so,
no,
Yeah, their numbers probably shouldn't be in that line item.
It's just, well, where else do you put it? That's the, you know.
So the auditors make us put numbers in a certain place. When they look at the books, they say, that number has to be here.
Oh, yeah.
and they
Yeah, your whole
put,
statement of accounts.
right, they put that under there so that it doesn't show up under the water district because it wasn't appropriated, it was court ordered, which is a legal fee.
Yeah. But it shows up under the appropriated column for our purposes of,
For our
Right,
purposes.
so when you get to that bottom of that page, page 7, where the total is $3,655,000.
I'm gonna have to pull that 400,000 out.
Right. Which means we're missing some other numbers in there.
It's not in there.
Okay.
So what'll happen is I'll take that $400,000 and put it down with the warrant articles. It's gotta show up somewhere.
yeah, it's gotta, it needs a cell, but it's just, it's weird. You know,
There's a line in here for encumbered funds.
But encumbered funds it's not, that wasn't
Yeah.
encumbered funds either.
That wasn't considered.
No.
No.
And then
Encumbered
there's the
funds.
unreserved funds, and it shows up under actual there as $435,003.
Mhm.
That includes the water district plus the money for the trust funds.
Right.
Encumbered funds are like if we have a contract or a bill at the end of the year and we haven't gotten.
Carries over.
Yeah, it carries over
Right.
into the following year, so we encumber the funds, and then when the actual invoice arrives, we pay it out of the previous year. And that's would be encumbered funds.
All right. Any other questions on there that you want to talk about tonight?
No.
Paul?
Nope, I'm all set.
Okay.
So you need a motion to adjourn?
I was just going to ask Helen if she had anything.
Thank you, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so this whole discussion about taking the warrants out, I'm glad because it was the first thing I wrote down. I think you're right, there's got to be transparency. It has to be very clear to the people that we're talking 8% versus 3%, whatever that number is. Now, once you've made it transparent, I as a taxpayer am not going to look at anything that's over inflation as making me a happy camper. I'm just, to your point about the 8%, I mean, it's going to take a hard sell because things have been going down and people are not going to be gung-ho on contributing to things continuing to go up. So that's just a point. You're not adding any staff, Chief?
No.
Staff is staying as it is?
Yes.
Okay, it's a good thing about taking out the first few months of the salary, so moving it and adjusting it, that was a good move. I like that in the budget. And the other question I have is, I know our town of Northfield is going to community power as an option, which is a lower rate depending on who your supplier is. And I'm just wondering if that's something that the district can take advantage of, and does it affect them?
We are in a contract,
Yeah,
so we can't move without a huge penalty.
How long
Okay.
does that last?
I have to look it up.
I'll
I
have
don't
to
have
look,
it
yeah, I
off the
don't
top of my head.
remember offhand.
I hope it's a good contract.
It was when we went into
It was
it.
Yeah.
when we signed it.
Okay, so I just was wondering if that would have had any impact, so, okay, that was it, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Walter.
good evening,
Thanks, you
gentlemen.
too.
There might be some
Ladies.
pizza upstairs.
Oh, no, I'll go home and have pizza. And the motion, and the meeting adjourned at 6:47.
6:47.